welcome Kate Wood, who is Communications Officer with the Irish University Association. Now, I've noticed Kate's work on my LinkedIn newsfeed. So innovative, so relevant, and so timely for the COVID-19 crisis that we're going through right now. So I wanted to shine a spotlight on her work and the work of the IUA. Now, let me give you a little bit of background on Kate. She is responsible for assisting in all areas of the association's external and internal communications. She also acts as the in-house videographer, creating and editing content for various IUA events, websites and social media channels. Now, having an in-house videographer is really important right now. Kate is a graduate of DCU with a BA in Communications Study from the School of Communications, and she also holds a professional diploma in digital marketing from the Digital Marketing Institute. So we're both graduates of that fine institution for our digital marketing qualifications. Kate, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Joanne. I'm really happy to be here and able to talk about this.
So tell us a little bit about the Irish University Association, because not everybody might know about your work.
Yeah, essentially the Irish Universities Association, or IUA, we're a public sector organisation, and we're really the voice of the Irish university sector in Ireland. We represent, support and advocate on matters of sectoral concern for our 7 university members, who are really key contributors to the social, economic and cultural well-being of our country. Within that, we act as an effective liaison and dialogue with the state and its agencies, and aid to really maximise the contribution of higher education within wider society and the economy. Our priority is to ensure that the education system, the higher education system, is properly resourced and prepared for any future challenges which may arise, such as COVID-19.
It has to be said that the university sector, and I guess broader higher education, has been one of the major casualties of COVID-19, and your sector had to move pretty fast given how many students you have and staff in your whole community. How did you guys react, and how has this affected the daily life of universities across the country in your association?
Yeah, it really has affected us, and while the universities are well versed in dealing with the consequences of major global political and economic events, COVID-19 in a few short weeks has really changed the way higher education and indeed the way IUA operates and communicates. Of course, this includes working online and working from home as opposed to in our office. For myself as communications officer, a lot of what I do is online based, whether that be creating video content, updating and maintaining our websites, designing graphics or posting on social media. So that aspect of things has translated very well to working at home. Nothing has really changed. The processes have really stayed the same. However, of course, not everything can be done virtually. As you mentioned, I'm the in-house videographer for IUA, and I'd usually go and film my subjects on campus in person and then get a bit of extra footage around the campuses. But of course, now that's not possible. So some of my projects have actually been put on hold. But also I've been looking at ways with my colleagues that we can continue these projects using different types of media. So whether that be simple graphics or replacing video with audio files that we may be able to get people to do at home. So I really think it's about kind of focusing on what you can do rather than what you can't. It's also meant for all of us stepping outside what would have normally been our normal working hours, to bring people the most up-to-date information as it happens. And for example, when on Taoiseach Leo Varadkar gave his St. Patrick's Day speech, and he thanked students and lecturers for the innovative ways that they're continuing to teach their students online. I was watching to get any updates that would be relevant for our sector and for our followers, and I tweeted that quote across our other social media channels as well, and that actually got nearly 600 engagements, which for us is huge. And this is just a small example, but it's really about listening for the latest updates from what the government are saying and what would be relevant for our groups, whether that be across academic affairs or across research as well.
So I mentioned at the outset that your video series caught my eye because what you've been able to do is put your community front of camera, and I think you've handed over the camera to them. Tell us about that series.
Yeah, the vlog series was just an idea I had the weekend. All the staff broke up to work from home. As I said, all my filming had to finish up because the universities were shutting. But we've called it Higher Education in Isolation, and it really wants to hear the stories of staff and students and describing their experiences of online learning during COVID-19. And it was a project made for it was a project done for the Enhancing Digital Teaching and Learning in Irish Universities project, or EDTL project, essentially which aims to enhance the digital capacities of all staff who teach in Irish universities, essentially using online tools and technologies to teach students their course material. I thought it would be a really good tool for the project team to use after all this is over, to help them really focus on the real pain points for students and staff. And this is real, on the ground, honest information and feedback. Nobody had any time to prepare for this, and so it's a true reflection of where digital teaching capacity is as of now. But also I've noticed that it has gone much wider than I originally thought it would. I noticed that lecturers are using it for their own lecturers are using it for their own resources and using it as feedback from students as well. So whereas I thought originally it would only be used for the project team, wider teaching groups have started to use it. And also it's providing a little bit of lighthearted, humorous content during what is a very serious situation. So it really has developed to serve a dual purpose for people in the sector, and I'm delighted at the reception that it's gotten.
Because I've been watching the videos, so I see students pop up on my news feed and they're sharing their individual story of how they're coping and adapting to learning online, but also being in isolation. And I actually think that's why the broader scope and the broader interest has taken hold, because these stories are just like me content. People can resonate with them. They're inspiring and they're invoking a sense of we're all in this together. So I think you've tapped into something that people can share and relate with. How have you managed to convince students to prepare their videos? Was that difficult? Because they seem really good quality to me.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with what they've done so far, actually, and I've actually reached out to a couple of people I know, kind of was just to get me started. And I work with various lecturers and various students just for making features and content for the IUA websites anyway. So I contacted a couple of people who I'd been working with previously, and they agreed to get involved. But as the technology is, particularly with students, they have good mobile phones. I have a video call with everyone that agrees to take part, so we can talk about framing, we can talk about audio quality, we can talk about all those kind of nitty-bitty things that they may not be experts in. And talking about tone, I want it to be conversational. I want them to show me their life intertwined with online learning and how they're getting on. And also I really wanted to hear from all different types of people across the country, across disciplines and across lifestyles, because one person is not the same, and the practices that come out of this project, of the EDTL project at the end, want to cater for as many people as possible. So that's going to be of real benefit to the project team after all this is over.
Clearly social media is being a friend to you right now. And on what channels are you sharing that vlog series?
We have a Twitter and we have a LinkedIn account. So we recently reached over 5,000 followers, which we were delighted with. So we're going to keep pushing that. And the vlog series has been really helpful in kind of getting us some followers that may have not known who we were before.
So with an anticipated protracted period of staying at home, how are you coping? I think we're all interested in how each of us as working professionals, we've got different households that we're working from. How are you coping yourself?
I'm getting on okay. I'm actually really surprised with how well I've coped with the kind of stay-at-home restrictions. I'm quite active. I play basketball and I was meant to start playing football before this all kind of kicked off, and I love being outdoors, but as with everyone, I've had to find ways of doing things at home or within 2 kilometers of my house with my family. So I've taken to home workouts. I love doing yoga in the morning, actually, which when I worked in the office, I wouldn't have had the time to do. So I've actually been really enjoying that. And I've also really kind of enjoyed the kind of relaxed atmosphere that working from home has afforded me. Like, even though I'm very busy with work tasks, I feel less rushed in my overall day. If anything as well, I'm grateful to be busy with work purely because I'm not looking for things to do and I have plenty of things to focus on. My work can be quite varied, whether I'm focusing on research or student volunteering, helping build our websites and create content for our websites. So I think that diversity of the subject makes it very easy for me to stay interested and stay engaged with my work. But I found even when I'm not working that I always find something to do. I'm very easily entertained, so that's been quite advantageous in a situation like this.
I think your creativity speaks for itself, Kate, but I've also noticed how quickly you've adapted. That was one of the big observations from me as somebody who analyzes government and public sector comms. I went, this organization has adapted so quickly, created a new vlog series that taps into the now and that is totally relevant and is resonating clearly by your metrics. So what advice would you have for your public sector colleagues, so people who are working in comms and marketing, who maybe feel a bit of paralysis because of fear about getting it wrong, about not having a roadmap for doing comms during a global pandemic? What's your advice?
Yeah, I think that you've kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think we've been thrown into a situation that we never expected to be in. And honestly, I think people are still finding their feet trying to navigate this kind of new normality. And it's time to make quick, decisive action to get the key tasks done that are crucial to the people that we work for. In our case, that's our staff and our students, to ensure that what we're doing is in their best interest. But it's also a time, I think, to take a step back, look at what it is that you want to do and kind of put out a map for how you're going to achieve that. And this might not necessarily be the way that you would have done it when you were back in an office with your colleagues around you. So my first piece of advice is to think about how you can use the technologies at home to your advantage. Explore new avenues of communicating with your colleagues, new platforms to manage progress and track your progress. Your routine may have changed if you've children or dependents at home or for various reasons. But so as a result of that, your work times might be a little bit different. Your work day might be a bit different, but accept this. Don't stress yourself out about it, that your day might not be what it was when you were back in the office before COVID-19 started. It's a new way of doing things. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the wrong way of doing things. It's just a big change. And I think another key thing is to use this time to our advantage. We should see COVID-19 as much as an opportunity as it is a setback. From this, we'll learn what we're capable of, how we can band together as a community and see alternatives, ways of living that we may not have seen at all or would have taken a really long time to happen organically without this lockdown. It'll give us a chance to learn for future situations and take examples of best practice. So if this happens again, we'll be prepared and we'll know what to do.
You're so wise for your young years. It's great advice. I have a final question for you. So often in my work, I find that, public sector pros are really fearful and afraid of the technology and the software that's out there. But we know that software that scales globally is based on simple UX, simple interfaces, and easy to use. What advice would you give to encourage people not to let fear get between them and a great piece of technology that can really help them now?
I am a big believer in giving things a go. I think that there are so many ways you can learn how to use online tools. If you know a colleague that's particularly good at, in my office, people typically come to me. So the offices do maybe have a person that's a little bit more technically savvy. And also the University of YouTube is absolutely great. There are YouTube videos for absolutely everything nowadays that you can look up. So if you feel that, oh, I'm not going to give it a go because I think it'll be bad, do it anyway. Try it. This is a great opportunity to try something you wouldn't have done before. That's what a lot of people are doing. So you're not alone in your fear. You're not alone in trying new things. So I would absolutely say give it a go.
Kate, thank you so much. What an insightful interview. And I know that it'll provide great solace, insights and learning to those who watch it. Well done on what you've achieved so far. Keep doing it, because the more you do right, the more ideas that you get. And stay safe, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Joanne. Stay safe too. All the best.